Hello, and welcome back to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you notice, I have a very handsome young man on the screen with me today. And I'm going to allow him a chance, to introduce himself. But before I do, I ask that you take a moment to go onto YouTube, click like, click share, and subscribe to Embracing the Fight. All right. So you see this handsome young man on the screen. His name is Rayzer Sharp. This is what I know him as and what I met him as. But I'm going to allow him the opportunity to introduce himself properly and to tell you how we met. So Rayzer, take the floor. Tell everybody about how we met.
So yes, I am Rayfield Johnson, aka Rayzer Sharp Photography. We met at a salon where I was working, shooting videos and taking still pictures for a young lady for her page. She's not really young. I don't know why I said young. But we got to talking about life and how things trickle down for us emotionally, mentally. So that's how we got here. We had a mutual like and understanding of how life affects us. So I was invited on, and I gladly took the bait and said, "Hey, let's do it."
Okay, I appreciate that. And I just loved your personality from the door. So can you tell us a little bit about, who you are and what you do?
So I'm 31. I'm a photographer, full-time photographer and videographer. Um, I've been at it for about 5 or 6 months now, full-time. Been have some ups and downs with it, but I finally kind of found my ground, found my footing. And I have, big plans of using my photography to get me to where I want to go, to move into Kenya down the line. So I can start a life for myself, somewhere where it's very affordable,
Okay.
Because it's very inaffordable here in America right now for a man my age. So I want to start a family, and I can't really start a family here where a one-bedroom apartment costs $1,400.
Right. So something that you're making me want to segue into or think about is the cost basically of food and your health and things of that nature. And everybody looking at him on the screen, he looks like the picture of health. He's slim, you see great smile, clear skin, he looks amazing, right? Would you believe that he had a struggle with his weight at some point? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So as a teenager, I got into a really nasty habit of eating too much fast food, which caused me to put on weight, and I was a little bit of a chubby, overweight boy. I got less athletic over time. I wasn't really outside being physically active, and it took one fateful day where I felt like I was having a heart attack by eating some Checkers or Rallies, depending on where you live, and I just had an epiphany right there to put it down, and start that journey of getting myself back into shape, back into good health. And it's been a roller coaster over the last 13 years. I've had things affect that, here and there. But for the most part, I'm very much in shape. I value, working out, exercising, most importantly, eating properly, because that's the most important thing when it comes to weight loss or weight gain, is really eating properly, as well as taking my sea moss and my vitamins. So I, definitely have kind of got myself to that point where I feel like, you know what, I've lost the weight I need to lose. I'm at a good health. My heart is good. My stomach is good. Everything is good right now, weight wise. But it was a struggle for a good while. There was a little bit of a roller coaster, like Busch Gardens.
Okay. And when you say that last little faithful burger did it for you, I mean, you don't eat any fast food now at all?
Maybe occasionally, like once every 4 or 5 months, if somebody wants to offer it to me, maybe. But even then, not McDonald's, not Burger King.
Okay.
If I eat fast food, maybe I might do Popeyes. Maybe.
No Chick-fil-A? All right.
Chick-fil-A used to be good. Hold on. Chick-fil-A used to be good. Back in the early 2000s, when it was like located in just the malls,
right,
it was very good. Now that it's spread out everywhere and it's more popular, it's not as good no more.
Look, we're not gonna bash Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is my favorite. And that's kind of one of the things that, made me really stop, and talk to you about it, because you were like, oh, you gotta stop eating fast food. And I was like, I really don't eat fast food. And then right in my head, it was like, Chick-fil-A is fast food. Chick-fil-A is fast food. You cannot eat this. So in your weight loss journey, though, once you cut off the fast food, what type of foods did you eat? What could you encourage? Say some child is watching this and they're a teenager and they want to lose that weight and they want to go cold turkey too. What exactly, do they have to do in order to go cold turkey?
I would say focus on two things in particular. Focus on meal prepping,
Okay.
because really one of the problems that affects us with weight is we're eating too many different foods on a day-to-day basis. Your body can't handle different foods every day.
Hmm.
You have to find what's healthy for you and eat it consistently.
Okay.
So if you notice, like the kids that grow up like on farms,
Mhm.
they tend to be very healthy because all they're doing is eating steak and eggs. Um,
I was gonna say that was me. I grew up, well, we didn't have a farm per se, but we had farm animals, we had fields, and we had vegetables and things that we brought out of the field. And true enough, my mom always says, when we were eating her cooking and living at her house, we were perfect weight, which, it's pretty true. And what you're saying, truly validates that. What about sweets? Do you have any issues with balancing that as well?
I mean, I'm still a sweet man. I might do a sweets. I might
Mm-hmm.
do some sweet maybe once a month. But it's definitely something you have to drastically cut down because there's really no nutritional value to it
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever.
Okay.
There's a few places you can go to, Whole Foods, get their vegan cookies. They're a little decent, but for the most part, sweets don't really carry many nutritional values
Okay.
that do your body really any good.
Okay. And there's always a mental side to this because when you're heavier, your self-esteem may be impacted, maybe not. You might have been one of those people that was just saying, you know what, I just need to get healthy just for me, not for anyone else. But did you have any type of mental like epiphany once you went from a larger size down to a smaller size?
Yes,
Okay.
and the epiphany was what I started to notice myself. This pushed me even further.
Okay.
And losing weight, what I noticed was I had more energy for the people around me.
Okay.
Um, so to this day, that's what actually drives me. I want to be in the best shape for when I do have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in the best shape for my wife when I do have a wife. I personally feel like my wife deserves the best possible healthy husband she can get. And I've been engaged before, and it worked out because when I was with my fiance at the time,
Mm-hmm.
she probably didn't notice it,
Mm-hmm.
but me being in shape is what gave me so much energy to help her, to keep her from doing so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can work 10-hour shifts at a job, come
Mm-hmm.
home and still cook, clean, exercise, and help her clean her apartment. That benefited her.
Okay.
Um, so that's kind of the epiphany. That's how I drive myself with doing it even more. Hey, don't just do this for yourself. Do this for your future family. Um, do this for the kids at the Dream Center. When I go volunteer with them, I
Mm-hmm.
can I have the energy to play with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unlike some of the other people, I can actually run up and down the court, play basketball with them, with little kids, which little kids, they're like energized bunnies. They can just keep going.
It's,
All they need is some Takis and a fruit juice, and they're good to go.
that's true.
But for me as an adult, if I want to run up and down the court with them, I got to eat healthy consistently. I have to stay on it.
Mm-hmm. And when you think about maintaining your weight and you look around your family, like your immediate family, let's just go ahead and say your extended family, we include your aunts and uncles and your grandparents and all that. How does weight management, how has that affected your family as a whole?
It's affected them mostly in a positive way,
Okay.
um, because they see me leading by example.
Okay.
Um, so my dad and my aunt, they're not the biggest people when it comes to health,
Mm-hmm.
but because I spend so much time around them, they've
Mm-hmm.
had no choice but to see what I'm doing and kind of gradually, you know, start eating more healthier themselves.
Okay.
Um, they won't admit it though. They won't admit I'm the influence behind that, but I am. My dad will let it out sometimes. He'll say, Ray, you're right. Like, this fruit that I'm eating is seedless. It's not good. Let me get on the real fruit like you.
Right.
Um, you know, right now I'm trying to get them off of regular processed milk. I'm trying to get them to find raw milk, which, to be honest, kind of hard to find.
Really?
Yeah, you can only get the only store I know with raw milk is Sprouts.
Okay.
Um, and I tell people all the time, milk should be thick, off-white, and creamy. It should not be thin and flat white like water, So my influence with them helps them kind of get better over time. They've also lost weight. My dad and mine have lost weight in recent years due
Mhm.
to my influence of trying to influence them to eating better.
And
It
you,
also helps you buy the food for them.
mhm. And you have me curious now. I know, I always hear that that you shouldn't eat, seedless fruit, because it's like, how do you make seedless fruit? It's like genetically engineered. It's not natural. It's not normal. But the raw milk, that's the first time, I've ever heard anyone, really speak on a difference between the two. So what is it in the raw milk that's making it thick compared to the processed milk that we see?
So the raw milk is when a cow is milked, the cow is strained, the milk is strained. So
Mhm.
it removes the extra, bacterial stuff in it
Mhm.
while leaving the raw nutritious milk still there. With the regular milk that we see in the stores, that milk is pasteurized.
Okay.
Pasteurization is the form where we heat something to kill the bacteria in it. The
Mhm.
problem is that milk is ultra pasteurized to the point where all the nutrition is gone,
Okay.
and it becomes very thinned out. It becomes a very thin, watery content,
Mhm.
and it's not. So it's like even though it'll say, "Hey, this is 8 grams of protein," that protein is gone
Oh, wow.
because all the fat is gone. Um,
Great.
so when you look, a good way you can tell is if I show you the bottle of raw milk I buy, you can
Mhm.
see the milk sticking to the side of the carton. That shows you right there, hey, it actually still has the nutritious content to it.
Oh.
Um, so some people think it's disgusting, but I actually enjoy drinking like a tall glass of that milk. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like taking extra protein.
Mhm.
Um,
So does it taste, different from regular milk
oh,
too?
it tastes better. It's actually very delicious. Now, granted, I'm a person who likes drinking milk. I get that from my mom, but there is actually a good difference in it. Because I can definitely tell the difference. It actually tastes very delicious.
Mhm.
Um, very delicious. So if you use it like a person using it in their cereal, they
Mhm.
would they would notice an immediate difference in how the cereal tastes compared to the normal everyday milk that we use. The only thing is, it does cost a little bit more because
Mhm.
it's America. Everything healthy costs more money.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah,
That's nuts. Okay.
but it's worth it. It's worth it. You get the actual nutritious milk how you're supposed to drink it.
Okay. And then you also mentioned sea moss, when you first started talking. What are some benefits, of sea moss? Because it sounds like, you've been doing this health journey for a while and you actually studied these things and you're able to, speak factually on it. So can you tell me about the benefits of sea moss?
So sea moss does two things in particular.
Okay.
Well, three things in particular. It gives you a good source of iodine
Okay.
in your body. It gives you I think it's 92 of the 114 minerals your body needs.
Okay.
You can get that in one shot in one scoop early in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Um, the fourth thing it does is it controls your hunger.
Okay.
Um, so when you eat sea moss, well not eat, when you take a scoop of sea moss in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people suffer from this thing where we overeat, we
Mm-hmm.
eat too much. Really, we're supposed to be eating probably one meal a day. Um, unless you work out. If you work out like me, or if you work like for a job on the side that
Mm-hmm.
calls you to run and lift daily,
Yes.
if you live in a normal day to life where you're inside, you probably should only eat one meal a day. The
Mm.
sea moss controls your hunger. It stops you from just overeating and overeating and overeating.
Okay.
Um, so like today, I had a regular day. I wasn't really out doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
All I need was one meal. That was it.
Oh, wow.
So my grocery bill is coming through.
Okay.
That grocery bill is going down when all you need is that one meal.
So do you do intermittent fasting or anything like that?
I never do that.
No, so you
I
don't
can't.
have to. As long as you eat healthy, you don't have to do that, right?
Oh yeah, no. Fasting is good, but for me, I live such an active life. I gotta eat. I can't fast at all.
I got
Um, when you're out in the river walk, constantly taking pictures, running up and down, it's hot, you're sweating.
it. Mm-hmm.
Um, I work part time for Amazon on side delivering packages.
Mm-hmm.
As you already know with the past couple of weeks for holiday season.
Yes.
Yeah, fasting is not in the cards for me.
Right.
Um, not in the cards for me at all. If I fast, I'm gonna pass out.
Okay.
I'm not eating.
Okay. And just hearing you, speak of your family and saying that your family, for the most part, is healthy. A lot of people have experienced grief because they've lost loved ones to being, overweight. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
So not from overweight.
Hmm.
My mom died of cancer,
Okay.
throat cancer in particular. But she wasn't overweight at
Hmm.
all. She's actually a very slim woman, which is surprising because she had five big boys.
Hmm.
Um, but from talking to her doctor, because my mom, she didn't smoke or drink.
Okay.
So from talking to her doctor, he did confirm to me,
Mm-hmm.
most likely her cancer was brought on by how she ate. She ate a lot of processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was not big on fruit at all. Even when she did eat fruit, she added too much salt to it. Um, like she would use margarine instead of butter.
Mm-hmm.
And margarine is not even really food; it's kind of plastic and vegetable oils.
Mm-hmm.
So that loss there pushed me even more to say, "Hey, I need to eat healthy." Because when I look at my mom, she died at 61.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mom did not get to experience me moving out
Mm-hmm.
on my own place. I've been engaged twice. She didn't get to meet either one of them. She won't be here if I have grandkids. Well, she has grandkids, and she still had a multitude of grandkids alive that needed her and wanted her, and they have to move on without their grandma. I lost my mom at 26. That's a very young age to lose your mom.
Yes, it's
Um,
extremely young.
so that loss definitely pushes me even further. Sometimes I get on people's nerves about it, but I'm like, hey, I watched my mom, slowly pass away from eating unhealthy.
Right.
It's not that hard to switch from white sugar, white bleached sugar to regular cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard to switch from margarine. These are simple like alterations we can make.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just my mom in her case, she had some habits that were really
Mm-hmm.
um, unhealthy, and it was hard for me to get through to her because the rest of my family at the time didn't really back me up on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it helped her, but it also, kind of showed me like, hey, I need to go hard with this. I need to make sure that when I get 61, my children don't lose me at such a young age. My grandkids can have me around for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If I showed you a picture of my mom, you would look at her and say that woman had no business dying at 61 whatsoever. She looked very much a young woman, um, very young, but the unhealthy food habits got to her.
Okay. Well, I am saddened by you losing your mother, but I am glad that you have taken, her loss and used it for something positive to help your family to eat better, to do better, and for you to live better as well. And on the flip side of this, you and I were just having a conversation, and we're talking about, the docuseries, why you named this episode Razor Sharp a docuseries. Can you tell us why you named this episode that?
So I want to show people, because a lot of people are on Instagram, they're on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and have a habit of seeing other people who create content similar to myself. They only see the highlights of that person's life when
Okay.
everything is peaches and roses. And they tend to be influenced by, they tend to look at that and think to themselves, hey, why is my life not like this?
Mm-hmm.
They're comparing themselves to that life. So I want to show people, no, that is not real. That's fake. It's not necessarily fake, but it's not the whole full picture. This is the full life of people who are in this kind of work and create this content. Yes, there's times when you see me, I'm at a party, I'm doing good, I'm balling, the girls talking to me, everything is good. But
Mm-hmm.
there's also moments where, hey, I'm getting into it with a friend or a family member. I'm a little stressed about, a bill, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I'm moving to Kenya, so there's a lot of stress that goes into, trying to move yourself to a whole different country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like life is not all peaches and cream.
Mm-hmm.
We're all regular, normal people. I drive a Nissan Altima just like a lot of other people drive a Nissan Altima.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see those cars speeding through the street, acting crazy, it might be me. I'm not just out here, having a good life. So don't compare yourself to these people thinking that you're behind in life. You have to look at the full picture of their thing. This kind of hit home for me too because I had an ex who complained about this.
Okay.
The day before she broke up with me, she complained about these other women she see online and she's
Mm-hmm.
jealous of what they do. And I didn't completely lose it on her, but I did get a little upset like, hey, focus on your life and what you're doing. Stop comparing yourself to a highlight reel of these other women's lives. You don't know what they're doing. You have no idea what's going on through their day-to-day life.
That's
So
right.
I want to show people, hey, this is real life right.
Mhm. Okay, so how
Yes.
transparent will you be in this docuseries? And when I say that, I mean, I know of course you have to edit, some things out because it's not like you're gonna be, going to the bathroom and taking us in there and that sort of thing. But I mean, for the majority of it, you're going to show us your waking moments, what you do during the day, everything. Or is it
But
just certain sections that you want us to see as far as you working or what?
no, it's going to be extremely transparent.
Okay.
Like extraordinarily transparent. You're going to see, matter of fact, even some of the bloopers of the docuseries, I'm keeping those in there. Just so you see, hey, this is all real life.
Okay.
There's going to be very little editing outside of me going to the shower and going to the bathroom. There's very little you're going to see. Well, you're not going to see anybody naked at all.
Okay.
You got to keep things, PG.
Right.
But it's going to be extremely transparent. I want people to see the full, life of
Okay.
how things work. So you're going to see the frustrations.
Mhm.
You're going to see me running into my friends and family and them not understanding what the hell's going on.
Mhm.
I see all of that. I want people to see, hey, this is real life right here. It is not just a person going to a bar or a club having a good time, eating out somewhere nice. No, sometimes you gotta thug it out and eat them turkey sandwiches every single day, because you want to save a little money to invest into a couch or your furniture elsewhere.
Mhm. Okay.
Sometimes your dad gets on your nerves.
All right. Well, I'm curious. What made you choose Kenya, and how long would you be there? Are you planning to come back to the United States, or are you done? You like, I'm Kenya is my life now.
So what made me chose Kenya was three things. One, I have a friend she grew up in Sweden,
Hmm.
but she moved to Kenya herself.
Okay.
So I'm having her be my bridge over there.
Okay.
Um, the second reason is I also have another lady here in Tampa who I'm very, very friends with. She has a boutique.
Hmm.
Um, and she also does tours in Kenya. So she's my bridge here. I have a bridge here and a bridge over there.
Okay.
So good. Third thing is Kenya is the one place where when I talk to Black Americans who go to Kenya,
Hmm.
Kenya always gets the biggest reviews. Um, Nobody ever has anything negative to say about Kenya
Hmm.
at all. Matter of fact, people go over there and they stay. Sometimes they don't even come back.
Okay.
Um, for me, I'm going to stay too. I'm going to come back and visit.
Okay.
Um, but I'm definitely going to make my life going forward over in Kenya.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got to do this interview before you left.
We could have still did it. It would have been a little bit of a time difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time
I,
difference.
I would have probably had to wake up like at 2 o'clock in the morning to get it done, but we could have did it, no problem.
Okay. So what is your it's gonna be on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which all, or where's it gonna be? Where's this Dr.
It's gonna be on my Instagram and my YouTube page.
Okay, and what are your Instagram and YouTube handles?
Both of them are Razor Sharp Photography.
Okay, and that's Rayzer.
Yes, R-A. Can I look at my phone? I'm gonna look at my phone.
Sure.
I think it's R-A-Y. It's R-A-Y. Yeah, it's R-A-Y-Z-E-R.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right. So is there anything else, that you want to share or encourage, others to do when it comes to social media or when it pertains to weight loss? Because these two things that you just talked about today, I mean, you're gonna have me looking at labels and everything, because before I was like, oh, I just need to stop eating, fast food somewhat, and then I could just, eat this and that. Seems like I need to cut it out altogether, because to be honest, I went to the doctor maybe 2 months ago, and back in July, I had a gallbladder attack, and I was like thinking I was having a heart attack. But while I was getting my gallbladder, checked out, and they were like, "Oh yeah, eventually you might have to have it removed or whatever." But they were like, "It's fine now. The stones, passed." Well, my liver, the liver enzymes were extremely high. It was to a point where they were like, you have a fatty liver, and that's something that you get, when you drink, well, they say you get when you drink a lot of alcohol, but I don't drink alcohol at all. So then they were like, well, are you a diabetic? Nope, not a diabetic. Sugar is perfect. They were like, well, do you consume a lot of sugar? I was like, yes, I do. And they said, that's the cause of your fatty liver. So now you're having me, look and think of things a little bit, differently. But is there anything that you want to share that you think that will help someone out there who's about to start their weight loss journey, or they're thinking about jumping on the social media and, sharing a whole lot about themselves? And you just basically said, it's not the way that it seems. So what advice would you give those two people?
So the advice I would give from the food part and health part is always pay attention to the labels.
Okay.
Um, don't get fooled by things that say organic. That's mostly just a branding tool. Um, because I've bought margarines out of the store that said organic, but it was still margarine. It was still filled with vegetable oil that's simply not good for you. It just means the vegetable oil didn't have pesticides within it. So pay attention to the labels. The biggest thing is don't buy anything that has more than 6 or 7 ingredients in it. Because nothing that's healthy is processed in that manner. Find like there's 3 points to it. When you get your meat, go to a meat market. So you can get the meat straight from a butcher.
Okay.
Where it's not being processed. When you get your fruits, go to a farmer's market. So you're getting it straight from the people who grow and pick it out. It's not going through a process, so everything is seeded. When you get your bread, go straight to a bakery. So you're not dealing with bread that have added preservatives to it. Bread should not have more than 5 ingredients, honestly. Also, another thing to your point with the sugar, that one is so interesting because there's a lot of foods that say they don't have sugar, but they still have hidden sugar. So I buy bread from Publix. I get their greenwise bread, the honey wheat. So it doesn't say it has much sugar in it, but if you look at the ingredients, it has honey. Honey has sugar. So if you're eating that bread, that's added sugar. Not a problem for me, but for a person who needs to be more health conscious, is pay attention to stuff like that.
But
Certain
is
things
it
will say,
okay? Is it okay to do natural sugars though?
oh yes, it's okay. But again, you look at the labels and the packaging, right? There's certain things that are very unnatural that people don't know, like high fructose corn syrup. That's an unnatural sugar.
Right.
But the thing is, somebody can say, "Hey, this is sugar free," while still having that on the ingredients list, because it might not be classified as sugar per se, but it still is. So pay attention to the labels of everything you eat. Make sure it doesn't have any artificial hidden ingredients in it that contain sugar within them. Because a package can say sugar free, but it can still contain something that has sucrose in it, which would still have artificial sugar.
Right.
In many cases, some people will use like Splenda and Sweet and Low. Those can be even worse than sugar. Actually, if you use too much of it, but nobody thinks of it because it's labeled sugar free. They feel like I can just put so much Splenda in this. Like, no, it's artificial. It's still a very artificial product, so it can still be bad for you over the long run. The worst ones are sugar-free sodas. Sugar-free sodas are actually worse. They have alternatives that are still just as bad as sugar. I would say definitely pay attention to the label and the packaging, the ingredients. Don't eat anything that has more than 3 or 4 ingredients in it. Unless it's canned chili. Canned chili is okay, but everything else should not have more than 5 or 6 ingredients. It really should not.
So why is canned chili okay?
Because there's 2 brands I use that are they have a lot of ingredients in it, but the ingredients are actual foods.
Okay.
Right. So it's like the peppers and the onions, the corn, the tofu, it's stuff like that. Right. It's not anything artificial. That's the one exception. Everything else, like if you go to the bread aisle, look at the bread aisle. Look at the bread. That stuff has ingredients that will pop up in your shampoo. Right? That's not healthy at all. It's stuff like that. A bread should only have flour, sesame, rye, butter, and salt.
Right. You shouldn't be drinking your shampoo.
Right. Your bread should not have the same ingredients as Head and Shoulders.
Right.
Or Shea Moisture.
Okay.
But it does. As far as getting online with the if you want to show your content online, you want to go that route, I would definitely say for one, don't show too much. Always keep something behind. Nobody needs to know every single thing that goes on in your life. Everything, keep something to yourself. But also the major thing is use social media with a purpose. Are you doing this for business and making money, or are you just trying to, if there's no purpose behind it, don't use it. Okay. I tell people all the time, if it wasn't for me being a photographer, probably wouldn't have an Instagram.
Really?
Yes, I wouldn't. I actually kind of detest social media a little bit because I see the damage it's doing to people. I like going outside. I like talking to people, as you've seen. I spend a big time on social media. I use social media business-wise and to connect with other Afrocentric people like me. Other than that, I'm off it. I'm off it. Catch me outside. So
Yeah.
definitely use social media with a purpose for your business. Don't just use it for fun, because fun is a short-term thing. It comes and goes, and it'll get you wrapped up in this false life that you don't want to be wrapped up in.
Is there any advice that you want to give before we shut down this episode?
Yes, the advice I would give is, if you can reach one person, just one person in life, to help them get better and do better in life and learn more things, go for it. Even just that one person, that brain that you spark can spark so much more going forward. It may not seem like a big deal, but if you can change one life can spiral down into changing a whole person's generation. Um, that's There are people who have inspired me in the past who don't even realize that they've literally done my family in the future a great service by just inspiring me. So if you can inspire just one person, go for it. It is worth it. You can change a whole generation, a whole lineage by just inspiring that one person with what you're doing and the
You
information
know,
you're sharing.
that is exactly why I created Embracing the Fight. So I can encourage one person to embrace their personal fight, to be able to talk about the things that, most folks can't talk about because they feel like they're being judged. I'm trying to normalize that conversation so we can change one life at a time. Thank you for that. You have inspired me to continue to do what I do.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and thank you for all those nuggets of wisdom. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, ma'am. Anytime.
All right. This concludes this episode of Embracing the Fight. While Rayfield Johnson and I, aka Rayzer Sharp, had an amazing conversation concerning your health, as well as sharing some personal things about yourself on social media, how you should really look at those things, and what you should do, going forward. Because if you think about it, your health is wealth. And if you want to share something, share that. Have an absolutely amazing day.